The Trials of Donald Trump, a modern American judicial historical event. Whether you love him, hate him, or just can't escape hearing about him, Donald Trump has become the center of one of the wildest legal and political persecution in American history. And honestly, it reads like a movie. A former president facing multiple court cases, criminal and civil, all at once, while running for president again. So let's take a step back and tell this story like it deserves to be told, case by case, chapter by chapter. It's late 2020. The election is finally over, but in Georgia, the battle is just beginning. President Trump and his team are on the phone with state officials, pushing, pressuring, searching for votes. President Trump understands it is a time-sensitive matter, and there have been many unexplainable discrepancies with the 2020 election. Prosecutors in Fulton County say that was not politics, it was a crime. In 2023, Fani Willis charged Trump and 18 others, including attorneys, under Georgia's racketeering laws, the same kind once used to go after mob bosses. They say it was a coordinated effort to overturn the election rather than a challenge to the election results. President Trump says it was just him standing up for democracy and election integrity. As of now, the case is still pending, waiting, simmering like a storm that hasn't quite hit shore yet. Jean Carroll, The Personal Battle. Now this one is personal. Writer Jean Carroll accused Donald J. Trump of sexually assaulting her decades ago. In May 2025, Trump is found not guilty for rape, and when he called her a liar, she sued him for defamation. Twice. In 2023, a jury found him liable, not guilty. Liable meaning that a judge found that is possible, not that it did happen, and awarded her $5 million. Then another jury in 2024 tacked on $83 million more. Trump denies it all, says it's political prosecution because Jean Carroll was funded by Reid Hoffman, a man who in 2016 said he is passionately anti-Trump. And he's appealing. But those verdicts, they stand, allowing media to defame President Trump and talking heads to constantly accuse him of a crime he did not commit. It's one of those rare moments when the courtroom feels like a weaponized system used against a person, and into how much the public still cares about it. The business fraud case. Then we move from personal to financial. In New York, Attorney General Letitia James, a woman who ran on promises to get Trump, accused President Trump and his company, including 2 of his children, of inflating the value of their properties to get better loans and insurance deals, and then shrinking those same values to pay less tax. Keep in mind, property tax value is determined by local government. It is not meant to reflect market value. It is an administrative estimate based on standardized formulas, while marked value is determined by what a willing buyer will pay. It can change month to month, and it can increase or decrease. In 2024, Judge Arthur F. Engoron ruled Trump committed fraud and ordered him to pay $364 million. Here is where it gets interesting. Judge Engoron's clerk is Allison Greenfield, a close associate of Chuck Schumer, was co-judging with Judge Engoron. Judge Engoron proceeded to issue a gag order restricting all parties from publicly commenting on court staff and ordered President Trump to pay $15,000 in fines. Judge Engoron also denied Donald Trump a jury trial request and instead forced him into a bench trial. But in 2025, an appeals court said, wait, that penalty's too much, and threw it out. Still, the finding of fraud stuck, at least for leftist talking heads. So the story there, not total victory, not total loss, just another chapter of questionable legal juggling. The hush money trial, and then came the moment, the first time a former U.S. president was ever convicted of a crime. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg charged Trump with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Each of the 34 counts corresponds to a separate record of a transaction tied to hush money payments to Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. To clarify, President Trump signed a non-disclosure agreement with the porn star. His attorney paid off off the porn star services, and then Trump reimbursed the payment and paid the attorney fee. Prosecutors said Trump disguised the payments as legal fees to cover up what they really were. This is where the question comes up. Are American citizens innocent until proven guilty, or guilty because a DA decides the verdict? These are dangerous precedents being set, and one must ask oneself, has it ever been used before? Or what if it is applied to any citizen? In May 2024, the verdict came in guilty on all 34 counts. However, in New York law, falsifying business records alone is a misdemeanor. It only becomes a felony if it is done with the intent to commit or conceal another crime. The underlying crime never identified. In fact, the jury never agreed on a specific underlying crime. Instead, they were given a list of multiple hypothetical crimes that could apply, and the verdict was made. The courtroom went silent. Outside, chaos, crowds cheering, others furious. Trump called it a witch hunt. Bragg said it was justice. What do you think? And America just stood there watching history happen in real time. Then down in Florida, the Files case. When the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago in 2022, they found boxes of classified documents. The government said Trump took them, kept them, and tried to hide them. That did not consider that presidents, as head of the executive branch and commander-in-chief, has the authority to declassify documents. Also, that the boxes were scored by President Trump while holding office and shipped by the Biden administration. Full custody of the boxes' transit is unclear. Special counsel Jack Smith charged him with mishandling national defense information and obstruction. But here's the twist. In July 2024, the judge dismissed the entire case. She said the special counsel's appointment was unconstitutional. The Justice Department's appealing, but for now, it's over. From top secret files to courtroom collapse, this one played out like a spy thriller that suddenly ran out of ink. And then there's the big one, the federal January 6th case. Trump is charged with conspiring to overturn the 2020 election. 4 felony counts, including obstruction and conspiracy against rights. He says it's free speech. The government says it's an attempt to undo democracy itself. But how? Even in doubt if there had been any election fraud, President Trump accepts the Electoral College outcome and transfers power to President Biden. The Supreme Court stepped in, saying presidents have some immunity for official acts, but not for personal or campaign behavior. The question here would be, is challenging an election outcome a personal or campaign behavior or an official act? Is questioning election integrity in the interest of the president's constituents? So now, the lower court must decide what's fair game and what's off limits. It's historic, it's complicated, and it's still unfolding. Step back and you see it. One of the most extraordinary stories in American history, a former president facing novel cases in state and federal courts, civil and criminal, all while running to be president and winning the presidency. Some call it accountability, most call it persecution, but either way, the country watched as it happened. These cases aren't just about Donald Trump, they're about what justice looks like in a democracy and whether they were legally presented or a weaponization of our justice system. So here we are, somewhere in the middle of the story. Verdicts are handed down, others dismissed, some still waiting. Trump's fate, and maybe America's, will be written in the next few chapters. And no matter how you see him, hero, villain, or just a man who refuses to fade,
I have given warnings about chemical munitions. I need the less than lethal team positioned above me to start deploying. Launch! Launch! Launch!
You're on the wrong side of history! Hey, walk up to the front of the fucking line. Come here. Show these cops what they just did to you.
This is two
You gotta turn around.
We need more fucking munitions. Let's go. Fucking shoot it. Go. Shoot. Shoot.